This is part 5 of my out-of-print DVD collection. Once again, I'd like to state that it's only these particular versions that are out of print. Sometimes a studio will re-release the same movie, or different studios will release the same movie. Anyway, first up we have Southern Comfort. It's basically Deliverance with the National Guard. The National Guard is on training maneuvers in the swamps of Louisiana. I think it's Louisiana. But they come across some swamp people that they get into a fight with. I think they kill a couple of them. And a couple of the National Guard guys get killed. But it's been a while since I've seen it. But anyway, yeah, it's just them trying to escape the swamps and the swamp people. They're not hillbillies because there are no hills. They're rednecks, they're backwoods people, they're swamp people, whatever you want to call them. No offense to any swamp people out there today, but in this movie they're portrayed as, you know, backwoods, toothless kind of deliverance guys. I think Breon James was in this one as one of the swamp people. He was the military liaison or captain from The Fifth Element. I believe he passed away. He was a very prolific actor that played bad guys. Anyway, it has Keith Carradine, one of the Carradine brothers. Powers Booth, who was the pilot in the original Red Dawn movie. If you remember, the kids come across a downed pilot, and it was Powers Booth. It also stars Fred Ward, Remo Williams. He was Remo Williams. He co-starred with Kevin Bacon in Tremors. He was also in one of those HBO magic movies. I forget which one. Cast a Deadly Spell, and there was another one. One of them had Dennis Hopper. But yeah, Southern Comfort, decent movie. I'd recommend to watch. Next up we have Dead End Drive-In, Brian Trenchard Smith movie. Brian Trenchard Smith is a director from Australia. This is considered Ozploitation. It's a future dystopia, and I guess the government locks up the unemployed and lazy young people. The main character in this movie, he sneaks into the drive-in. He gets in without paying by saying that he's unemployed, but little does he know that if you're unemployed, once you go in, you can't get out. I mean, it sounds ridiculous. The premise sounds really ridiculous, but it works. It's actually got pretty good production values. The set was pretty good, the costumes, the acting was good. I recommend this one. I really like this one. It sounds stupid, but it works. Trust me, it works. After that, we have a New Zealand movie, Tongan Ninja. Self-explanatory. The guy's Tongan and he's a ninja. But the city he lives in, there's a crime syndicate. And I haven't seen this in a while, so I might get the plot a little wrong. But I think his girlfriend, her family owns a restaurant. The mob is trying to extort money, like protection money. And he steps in to stop them. It's funny. It stars Jermaine Clement as one of the bad guys. He's one half of the Flight of the Conchords. And he was also the villain in the Men in Black 3 movie, I think. Yeah, definitely low budget, but very funny. I really liked it. After that, we have My Summer Story, the sequel to A Christmas Story. A lot of people don't like this one. I enjoyed it. I mean, it doesn't really have a central plot. It's just different subplots centered around a kid's summer. There's one involving a war of tops, spinning tops. For those of you not familiar, it's a toy from the good old days, I guess. It was before my time. I'm not that old. But yeah, there's also another subplot involving the mom and a dish giveaway at the theater. The theater used to be really different. There used to be a lot more activities, and they had giveaways. But that subplot is pretty funny with the mom. And Charles Grodin is a good replacement for Darren McGavin, and so is Mary Steenburgen, replacing the mom from A Christmas Story. Kieran Culkin, he's younger brother of Macaulay Culkin. He was in Scott Pilgrim. Good actor. I like this one. Most people don't. Space Camp. I had a huge crush on Leah Thompson. I mean, I saw Howard the Duck in the theater 3 times just to see her. Yeah, this is a ridiculous movie. The premise is kind of... It's unbelievable. But these kids go to space camp. They're in the real space shuttle when one of them starts the launch sequence, and Kate Capshaw is the only astronaut on board. I guess she's like a teacher or mentor to these kids, but she gets injured or something like that, and the kids have to figure out a way to get the space shuttle back to Earth safely. Like I said, ridiculous premise, but I like this movie. I mean, it's a movie from my childhood, I guess. And like I said, I had a big crush on Leah Thompson. But it has Kelly Preston, John Travolta's wife. Lee Phoenix. He's Joaquin's younger brother. River's younger brother as well. I forget the black kid. He was Lamar. I think that's his name, from Revenge of the Nerds. The gay nerd that he threw that flimsy javelin thing. He's been in a ton of stuff. Larry Sand. What is his name? Larry B. Scott. Oh, Tom Skerritt's also in this one, and Tate Donovan. He was I think he was slated to become a big star, but didn't happen. Anyway, it's Space Camp. It's another Ozploitation from Brian Trenchard Smith. It's Escape 2000. It borrows heavily from The World's Most Dangerous Game. It's hunting humans. Steve Earle's back. You'll recognize him from Life Force and The Stuntman. He's a political prisoner. This is another future dystopia. He gets sent to a prison for... A lot of the people are in there for political crimes, speaking out against the government, protesting, that type of thing. Anyway, the warden of the jail, to make some money, he sells the opportunity to hunt some of his inmates to rich people. Each hunter has a different method of killing. It's actually I really like this movie. It's a drive-in movie. Very violent, very gory. It also stars Olivia Hussey. She was in when was it, the 60s or the 70s version of Romeo and Juliet. I remember seeing it in school, and I think there was some nudity in the Romeo and Juliet. That's why it made such an impression on me. But she's a very beautiful woman. Yeah, Escape 2000. Good exploitation. I can't recommend this one enough. Next up, we have a Nickelodeon produced movie. Goodburger. Stars Keenan and Kel. Kenan Thompson is now a player on Saturday Night Live. And Kel Mitchell, last thing I seen him in was a sci-fi movie with Nia Peoples. I thought he was gonna be a bigger star, or I thought he was gonna have more film, TV roles. He's a funny guy, Kel Mitchell, but I guess his career hasn't been doing so hot. But yeah, local burger shop is competing with a chain, and Kel's character develops a secret sauce that is so good that everybody stops going to the chain burger place and comes to them. So the chain burger place is trying to steal their sauce idea, and they're also doing things to their burgers, adding some kind of chemical to make them bigger. But it's a little guy against a big guy movie with kids, basically. Linda Cardellini, if you don't recognize the name, she was Lindsay in Freaks and Geeks. She was Velma on the Scooby-Doo movies. She was a nurse in ER. Yeah, she makes an appearance as a mental patient. But yeah, Goodburger. Keenan and Kel Nickelodeon movie. Pretty funny. I liked it. Testament. Now this is part of my End of the World collection. It's a nuclear holocaust movie, but you don't see the destruction. You don't see the blast. You don't see people getting vaporized. It's basically a woman and her 3 kids and them trying to survive the aftermath. The radiation sickness, the crime, the lack of food. Very good, very depressing. Without warning, another End of the World movie. Jane Kaczmarek, the mom from Malcolm in the Middle, is in this one. It was one of those... It was made for TV, but it was one of those where it was supposed to be a TV broadcast, and if you happen to tune in while this was being broadcast, you might get the impression that it was actually happening. They use real journalists. They usually had a disclaimer during commercial breaks, or they had a crawl at the bottom, a scrolling crawl that said, this is a work of fiction. But some people were fooled and they started calling up and freaking out about it. But basically, meteorites hit the Earth. Scientists determined that these were actually aimed, so there's an alien presence behind this. I don't want to ruin it, but it's good. It's a good End of the World movie. I liked it. The Church. This is from the Dario Argento collection. It's not directed by him, but I believe it was written and produced by Argento. It's, I guess, it's the official sequel to Demons 2. It was supposed to be the third of the Demons series, but the director felt he was better than the first 2 Demons movies, and he wanted to go a different direction. It's pretty similar. Asia Argento, Daria's daughter, stars in this one. Knights come into a town in the olden days, and they discover that the inhabitants are worshipping the devil, so they murdered the whole town and they bury him. They build a church to seal in the evil. Many years later, they're doing some, I guess, archaeology work, or they're studying some of the old church stuff, and one of the scientists, I guess, unleashes the evil, and it's a possession movie. Evil spirits possess people, and it's very similar to the Demons movies. I liked it. I like the siege/barricade type movies. But there is part 5 of my out-of-print DVD collection. Stay tuned for part 6.